So how does this work? Well, when the sun's at its strongest, there's enough light generated. Natural sunlight, for example, in a place like this, there's no windows, but a lot of classrooms have windows and whatnot, and a lot of offices do. And then computer monitors set off tons of light, and so basically the overhead lights are rendered useless a lot of the time. Plus that 11 to 1 hour, 2 hours, sorry, part of it falls in lunch hours where, if you were at a business, wouldn't necessarily be there, but the lights would still be on. So can this actually help? Well, one business survey could see a 3% drop in its electricity bill. And so for a medium-sized office, I think 77,000 square feet, they'd save $475 a month. Plus, it would instill the daily message of conservation in its workers. Maybe you don't turn on the lights at 1 o'clock and you see if you can wait until 2 o'clock in order to turn them on. Or maybe when you get home, you're more conscious of lights being on or different small things that you can do to conserve that'll really add up. So we're hoping this spills over out of the 11 to 1. Now there are 4 different levels to the pledge because I understand that, for example, hair in a classroom like this, you do need some lights. But the first level is to turn off all your lights from 11 to 1. That'd be like a household. If you got a family staying at home or whatnot, or on the weekends, you got tons of windows, you don't need the lights on, if it's a sunny day. College dorm rooms, hopefully, some of you can go back to your, I know it's sort of the end of the year, but, you can go back to your RA or the hall that you live in and whatnot and try to get some people to do the 11 to 1 pledge there. Small office buildings, we have a couple of coffee houses that do the pledge, small private businesses, and school classrooms. Actually, the school classrooms is one of the things where it would also, beyond just saving energy and cutting electricity bill, it sort of gives, I don't know, when you guys were kids, did your teacher ever turn off the lights if everyone was misbehaving or whatever, to try and calm everyone down? So that's another benefit of school classrooms. The other level of the pledge is to turn off all the lights in areas with windows from 11 to 1, and turn off hallway lights and other lights around the office. A place like this would be a medium office building, a governmental building, or a large high-rise office building. For example, you've got all offices that are window offices in a building. They don't need their lights on. But the people in the middle, for example, that aren't on the perimeter of the building, who are sitting in cubes and whatnot, they would need a few overhead lights here or there because they're not getting that natural sunlight. Level 3 is for basement offices and basement apartments, or a place like this. Turn off hallway lights, some lights around the office from 11 to 1. And now level 4, I understand if you're hospital, nursing homes, airports, train stations, places like this, they can't afford to turn off their lights due to safety issues. And so we ask them to use low energy bulbs such as compact fluorescent light bulbs for lighting. But really, the message goes beyond just the 11 to 1 pledge. Switching to those compact fluorescent light bulbs or LED light bulbs can really reduce energy use. Now, LEDs are probably going to change everything in the marketplace in a couple of years. They cost too much right now for the regular Joe six-pack to go out and switch to LEDs in his house. But they probably cost $3 to $5 a bulb. But once they're being manufactured in mass numbers, they're going to be a little bit cheaper. And if you're spending, for example, $160 to light your house right now, if you switch to LEDs, you'll spend $20 a month as opposed to $160 a month. It's 1/8 less, uses 1/8 of the energy that an incandescent light bulb uses. So that can make a huge difference. Now, not everyone can pay for those upfront costs in order to switch over to CFLs or LEDs. And for example, I just switched over a household to CFLs from incandescent lights, and it cost, I think it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it cost $110 up front to switch it over to all CFLs. And they're saving $25 a month on their electricity bill. So obviously, 4 or 5 months down the road, you're making money, especially because these CFLs last. But a lot of low-income residents, those people can't afford to put up that upfront $100, and they have the thought process that, well, you know, going green sort of costs me some green, and I can't afford that. So Lights Out Green Inn has donated 2,500 CFLs to low-income residents in the Northeast through different food banks in Rhode Island and Massachusetts primarily, in order to get everybody sort of involved in that, and the food banks distribute them. Now another way that people can sort of follow the conservation, we came up with this sort of list of 9 easy ways to conserve without really spending much money. First one is our pledge, obviously. Number 2 is to reuse. For example, you know, you hear reuse all the time. If you have your Poland Spring water bottle, which uses a ton of plastic, but if you do use those, you know, refill it with filtered water, or, you know, water from the tap. Recycle, obviously, right up there. We've talked about switching to CFLs. Number 5, when you're driving around on the highway, hopefully you're going 55 to 60 miles an hour, which is the perfect speed in order to conserve the perfect amount of fuel. And set it to cruise control, if you can. Obviously, if you're driving through Manhattan, you can't do that. But for highway driving, because every time you hit the gas, you're using gas. Actually, that gets to one of the biggest improvements that the U.S. has made in the last couple of years, and that's fuel consumption in cars. I know everyone was pretty disappointed with Copenhagen. If anyone followed that summit, sort of led to a watered-down agreement. But the EPA here at home has set some pretty good fuel regulation standards for cars and trucks, and they have to meet those by the end of this decade. And we're talking 35 mile per gallon on average for cars. Right now, that's, you know, most cars that are considered good energy savers get that. So that'll be big. And we saw that with cash for clunkers as well. It's another way where we're able to conserve money and actually save some money and energy at the same time. Number 6, paper plates are easy, but if you have a family of 4, you're using paper plates every night for dinner, you're wasting a lot of paper, and you're costing yourself a lot of money. Number 7, even stuff just as using wrapping paper, you know, wrap it in the day's newspaper or in the Sunday comics, or, you know, if you want to give, you can give in a gift bag or reuse wrapping paper, or actually you're seeing a lot of people using.
I use cloth.
Yes, yeah, you can use cloth, or even reusable bags themselves as the gift bag, because you see a lot of neat reusable bags out there. But yeah, cloth, because then people can use that, reuse that very easily. Number 9, reusable shopping bags. And number 8, using both sides of paper. It's unfortunate that a lot of printers don't print both sides simultaneously. It'd be really easy. But frankly,